So let's look at a couple objects. First one I want to look at is number 23 that's on G4. Now, does anybody want to see this one drawn?
Yeah.
Because here we have a cylinder that's been truncated. Now, we mentioned this a little bit yesterday. We kind of did a quick synopsis right at the end of the lecture talking about that. I'll just repeat that really quick. I see a circular shape here, so I've got a positive cylinder. I come to the right side view, which these are all completed views, by the way, and I see that the cut is 45 degrees. Now, when I come to the top view, I will be looking here. So I'm looking perpendicular to the long axis, right? Okay. Because my long axis is this location. I see it as a point here. If I'm looking perpendicular to it, the cut is 45 degrees, therefore, how will this appear in the top view? Circular. Okay. It's a circle, it's not an ellipse. Now, once I have that, then in essence, I've got 3 cuts on this guy I need to track. I've got this one, well, 4 actually. This one, this one, this one, and then I have another cut that occurs back here. Now, the thing you really want to kind of pay attention to when you're looking at cylinders and where they're cut, you're going to base them off that center line. Okay? So there's the center line on both views. So this cut right here happens right on it. So notice I'm halfway up, I'm right on the cylinder. This cut right here goes past the limiting element. It's on top. This cut here is before I get to the limiting element. So you're going to want to look for those items as you project these. Usually you're checking that quadrant location, and that will tell you how things are going to work. So with that, let's jump to the computer. Let's see. Gabe, would you mind hitting the front lights, please? Switch my workspaces back. Okay, so here's your 2 views. Yeah, you're still welcome to bring your chair up if you can't see from in the back or whatever the case might be. If you've already drawn this and you feel comfortable with it, then please just keep moving on doing what you're doing. So, what I need to do here is produce the top view. So the first thing I'm basically going to do is take my limiting elements, throw them up so I define my width that is going on here. Now, once I do that, I need to define where my depth occurs. I could use a phantom line. I'm just going to use the object itself. So I'm just going to throw an arbitrary line out. That will be the bottom. I'll use that to create my meter line. So my meter line will then go from there to there and then go at 45 degrees. So, I never went far enough. Let me just make sure I get past far enough. And then let's bring the depth over. So here's the back of the object. So let me trim this up a little bit. So again, I'm locating full width and depth since I am building on the horizontal plane of projection. So there's the whole thing. Now, I know that this is a circle right here, and it's going to appear as a circle up here, so I need to locate that center point. Okay, when I do circles, you need center and radius, right, to draw them. So I'll bring up first the center point. I know it is right here. Then let's bring the center point on the right side view. Remember, it occurs right here. So here's the center. I'll bring that up, bring that over. There's the center point of my circle. So now I'll use the circle command to draw that in. It's going to go right there. Everybody see how I did that? I located center and radius. I know this thing has to appear as a circle, so therefore, there it is. We good? Okay. Let me toast that stuff. I'll trim up a little bit here. What the heck? Thinking that, and these are kind of done. Okay, so there's my shape so far. Now, let's deal with our cut surfaces now. So I'm gonna pay attention again, as I look on here, where's this center line in relationship to the cuts? Because as this thing projects up through, I will have my limiting element here. That's that line right there. This thing keeps wrapping around on that curved surfaces to this location. So that's going to tell me where that cut really starts up here. So I'll project those two. So I'm going to take this surface, project it straight up, and then take this surface, project it straight up. So there is the width of the surface as it comes up. Now I need the depth of it, and that is shown over here because this line lines up. It's right from here, and I'll bring that over to the back, which should hit right on the rear. Now it's kind of nice when you do this and you notice, oh, those two match up with that circle. So that's probably a good sign I'm doing this thing correctly. So in essence, what's going on here, it's going to come up and hit here and run to the back. Okay. So let me do a little trimming. Okay. That's gone. Let's see, that one's gone, and that one's gone. Let me kind of get my lines right here, so I know that line is good, that line is good, and this one's good. Do a little more trimming. Now let's get rid of that piece. Okay, so there's that surface right there. It's given width here, depth here. Okay, so there it is. Any questions so far? Okay. Now this center one right here, let's go ahead and deal with this one. Now notice that this one starts clear down here at the bottom, but it's given the width here and is shown by this hidden line that goes through until it turns OBJ, where it comes through on the other side. So let's do this trench right here. So the width of it, okay, I've already got the left side, that's this one. Okay. So now what I then need to do is define the depth of it, and it is going to go from here across, and we'll just take it all the way. Yeah, let's go right to here where the hidden line is. Stay with the hidden line. So what is going on with this cut is it goes right there. And let me change those. Okay. So there's that cut. Now it comes all the way back to this location, but I'm just going to leave this for a second. Alrighty? Does everybody see how I got that cut in there? That's that channel. Now, the last thing we need to do is, we've got two cuts that go on there. I've got one that goes right here. That matches up with this surface. So let's put that one down. Now, this one's right at the limiting element, right? Because it's on the quadrant or center point of it. So I want to bring the width, but I've already got them all up there, and let me just show you. So that's this line right here, right? And then this limiting element will be that line. So all I really need to do is get the height of this, and it's going to occur right at this point. Now let's bring that in. So then I can come in, this guy gets trimmed back to there, that one to there. And I think that is it. That's where that surface comes on. So it's right on the limiting element. So it's going flat across the top, and then I have this lower cut that occurs before the limiting element happens. So I'm going to bring this one up. Notice where it goes. It's from there and then these two right here, which I already have them up here. So what's going to happen here is that this one gets chopped back because I never reached the limiting element. And then, let's see, I think that's still there. That one stops. That's gone right there. I got something wrong on this. We're going to find it. There extend that one through. Okay. That is going to be, I'm trying to get this zoom window, Judah window on this guy. So there is your finished projection. Again, the thing you really want to pay attention to as you do this, where are you at in relationship to this center line, that limiting element? In this case, I had to keep wrapping around. This one was before, so it's internal, so it really didn't matter. This one's right on it, so that's the limiting element and the edge of the plane. This one occurs before it, so I'm removing that limiting element and coming into the plane.
Wait, what's that last little, where did
This-
you get that point?
This little piece right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Notice that here's the surface.
Oh, that one. I didn't
Notice
put that
it's
in my thing.
before,
Okay.
I'm cutting this part out, back here.
Yeah,
I'm cutting it out.
I didn't put, I missed that on my original drawing, so I didn't have that.
Okay. Any questions on this one? Amy?
No, I was like, wow.
That's fine.
All right, now for the fun one. Okay, this guy. Does anybody want to see this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I got another drawing that I put together for this so you can kind of see it. So here's the three-dimensional object of this guy. So if I look at this in the front view, right here, here you can see that main cut coming through. Here's the cut in the bottom. Let me tilt this thing up for you. So here's that through hole that comes in. Now, the thing you want to really kind of pay attention to, again on this, is where is that quadrant point? Okay, so if I'm drawing this line straight down here, let me draw this and I'll change the color of it. So you can kind of see where that quadrant point comes in as opposed to these cuts. Because this is that center line I tell you to kind of watch when you're doing cylinders. The cut comes a little bit past that point. So I'm going to see some limiting elements get affected by that. On this one, I don't hit the center line. So this one's a toughie right here. How do I project this guy when all I can do is find a quadrant point right here for the ellipse? I don't know where my center is. I don't know where my major and minor ellipses are. Or axes, excuse me, that define the ellipse. So this guy right here is really kind of the problem on this. The rest of it's we've done quite a bit of already. So these things are kind of nice to kind of visualize though, where you can get them out and take a look at them from all different directions. This is the same thing as a clay model, right?
But
Can
better.
I see it first straight on with that, with the
This-
curve? No, the other 90 degrees. Towards the room.
Okay,
No.
let me go, hold on. Plan. Okay, this one?
Yes.
Let me change this to, let's see. I don't know if I can do it from this one. No, I can't. I'd have to switch my workspaces to do it, show you a different configuration. So you see that one? This is really the view you're projecting, right? Right here. Okay. Let me close this then and let's go do the projection. So we've got this ellipse, and then the other thing we've got is limiting elements going on down here. All right, so here's your two-view drawing. So the first thing we need to do is set up a transfer method. So I'm basically just gonna try and get my meter line going here. So I'm gonna take width, or height, excuse me, over. I'll just pick a depth spot right here. Bring that up. Bring this line over to here, and then we'll shoot it at 45 degrees. Now a circle, we've got the circular view and the top view, therefore you're going to get a rectangular view down here on that cylinder. You put that whole thing in. Okay, so there's in essence my outline. So first thing I do, let's handle the easy part. Because I know that I've got limiting element, that's going to be good. Let's go ahead and put the negative cylinder in. So the negative cylinder will go from quadrant to quadrant. And it's right here, it goes all the way through, right? There's that. Next thing let's handle. Let's handle this piece right here. Now again, you want to pay attention. Here's that center line. It's back behind it. So we're going to have some things that affect. This thing comes out and it affects this negative cylinder. It also affects this positive cylinder on where it's going. So the first thing I got to know is my height of it, and I can project according to rule 1 directly into it, so I can bring these over. So there it sits. Now let's see how it affects as it goes down through here. Because I think you can, would we all agree that this cut has nothing to do with anything up in here or down here? Okay, so I can leave this alone down here in this section, and this section up here I'm going to leave alone because it's not affected. What I'm going to look at is here in relationship to this cut, because I see the cut right here too. So when we deal with the outside cylinder, here's that wraparound point. So I'm going to bring that point back, and really watch your snaps here. Make sure you don't, because it's really close to your quadrant location, and I'm going to bring that down. Now, if you see what happens right here on this, I'll zoom in on this corner. Okay. So here's the line I just brought down in. Here's the top of my cut. So this piece has been removed. So I'm coming down, limiting element, I hit the cut, I'm going to jump in and then down. Because I've removed that limiting element. Right? Let me just show you where that came from again. It came from up here. See that little, here's your limiting element. We've wrapped back around a little bit. So what that's going to end up looking like is come in, I'll trim this guy out, that guy out, and that guy out. So can you see that jog right there? That's what happens. Now, I'm not going to take the time to do the other side because it's identical, so I'll just mirror them. Okay, so the other side's done over here. Now, you're going to want to do the same thing with this piece. But there's one other thing that happens on that. Is, can I see into here?
No.
From the right side view?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this has all been removed, so I can see. So when I'm looking at these lines, they're going to go OBJ. They're not going to stay hidden. They're hidden up here because my view is obstructed. They won't be here. So let's go ahead and project that from the top view. Again, you're coming up here. Here's where it is, right here. So I've come off the quadrant back behind it, and bring that over, and then down. So there it is. So I need this piece right here. That's gone. That's gone also. And this goes OBJ. And again, let me just mirror that. Okay. So that's what that projection is going to look like. So you see these little offsets that occur. And then additionally, I can see into that cut, so my line type changes. Okay, we good on all those? Declan, you raised your hand on this one to see it. Are you good with what we've done so far?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I think now we're getting ready to hit the meat of this. I don't think any of that's really earth-shattering, other than just you got to pay attention to detail. Now, I want to draw this next portion twice. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, before I get started, I'm going to copy all this from here right above it. Because I'm going to show you two different methods on how to create this ellipse. Here's where I'm going back to, this is that page, 532. I'm going to do both methods here. Now, let's do the fast one first. Okay, so you're not sitting here forever watching it. Now, this cut starts right here, goes up to here. Does it ever hit this? No, it doesn't. What do you need to draw the ellipse in AutoCAD? You need the center point, right? And you need the major axis and minor axis. You can't get any of that because it does not intersect this. But it's a plane. Can I make it intersect? Use my imagination? You bet I can. I'm going to add to this thing. Hey, I know it's not there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and take this center line and extend it up, and then take that plane and extend it to it. Because if that plane kept going on that angle, that's where it would hit. Right? I never changed the orientation. All I did was project them out. Now at this point, do I know these centers? I most certainly do. So I can now track along this line, get my center point, get my major radius, get my minor radius. And let me show you how I do that. So with that one little trick of just extending that plane, here is the bottom of it. Okay, it occurs right there, and it is on the center. So it's this point right here. That's the quadrant. Now, where's my center at? My center occurs here. Where is my minor radius of my ellipse? It is this piece right here, right? Because I've projected it up to the center line. Oh, got a bad snap there. So it's going to go from here to here to here. So what I've now defined, there's the center of my ellipse. This is my minor radius. This is my major. Let me draw the ellipse now. So it's going to go from there to there to there. Now, the only part I need of that is this. So I can trim all this up, trim that. Let's just get rid of all this junk. And that guy looks like that. I'm going to get this back to where it was. Okay, so there it is. Now I still need to put this little channel in. Okay, so let me do that real quick and get this thing. Well, tell you what, we'll come back and put the channel in a second. But let's stick with this surface. So you saw how I got that where I extended it out. I found the center that allowed me to get my major and minor axes. Okay. Now the other way to do it, if you just can't seem to get that done, is you can always break this curve into points. And this is figure 1065. Okay. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to come in and break this curve apart. So I'm going to project a line from there to there. Now I'm going to offset that. This is a pretty small one. I'm going to do 500s. Okay. So I'm just going to come in here and do a bunch of offsets.
Why?
I'll show you why here in just a minute.
If you can't figure it out the other way, this lets you break a bunch of points.
Yeah. The first way I did that works if you have an ellipse or a circle. And we had a cylinder we started with, so then we have to get a true ellipse. That works. If you get an irregular curve, a curve that changes radius, you have to do it this way. You cannot use the other way. This is the way we do it. Now, in essence, what I'm doing here, by taking these lines and offsetting them in easy distance, what I've done is I've defined a point. There's a point right there, there's a point there, there's a point.
How did you know the distance to the offset? You just picked it?
I just picked a distance
Okay.
and ran with it.
Okay.
Keep in mind, when you do this method and you approximate a shape, when we get to the dimensioning portion, I'll make a big point of this. You're going to dimension where these points are. if you want it built like this, because the person that's constructing this thing is only gonna be as accurate as how many data points you give them to build the curve. And they'll do it just like we do here. I mean, sheet metal workers for Terry's Heating and Air and Brzee, they do this stuff every day. And they're used to this, so they'll see it and be able to replicate these. So I've defined a bunch of points here, right? I projected down in here and I see the same points, correct? Okay. So now I have to locate those points over here. Now I'm only going to do half the curve because it's symmetrical with this half, correct? Okay, so how I'm going to do this is I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to grab this point, I'll shoot it over, and I'm going to change color on these guys so I can keep track of these because I'm going to get a lot of lines here in a hurry. Okay, so that's the cyan ones here will be my height grid. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this then from here, and you want to make sure you're getting good snaps when you do this stuff. Okay. So now I've taken all those points and I've transmitted them this way. I know the points fall on this line, I just don't know where. Well, yes I do, it's up here. So I'm going to take this point, I'm going to project it to my meter. Okay, it sits there. Let me drag that out just a little further so I can get a good intersection, because I want to use the copy command on this. So again, I'm just